Hey, this is Lisa from coochiecoocieCoo.com. Today I'm going to show you how to embroider snowflakes in 3 different ways. First, you need some fabric. I'm using just some white flannel. You need some fabric scissors, an embroidery hoop, some embroidery thread. I'm using 3 different colors for the 3 different styles, embroidery needles, and some embroidery scissors are helpful for cutting off all those little tiny threads. I will put links to all of these materials down below the video. Now, to do the snowflakes, I suggest you use Stick and Stitch by Sulky, which is really easy to use to transfer embroidery patterns. You can see this product has 2 sides. There's this shiny side, which is the part you take off, and this sort of fabric-y part that's rough. This is where you print onto. If you go to the link below the video, you can download my free PDF for the different embroidered snowflakes. This is what it looks like when you print it off. Make sure that you're printing onto this rough fabric side. Now let's get started. First, cut a piece of your fabric that your embroidery hoop will fit onto. Then, cut a strip of your fabric embroidery. Cut off part with your regular scissors. You might want to trim around the edges just to eliminate anything extra. You're going to put it centered here. To do that, you're going to remove this plasticky back part. To do that, you're actually not going to lift the plasticky back part. You're going to be lifting this front part, which peels right off like this. Okay, now let's just stick it right on into the center. Just press it down. Make sure you press it all around, and you'll see that it's on there, stuck pretty well. Next, let's put it in our embroidery hoop. So the bottom, smaller part, goes like that on the bottom, and the top goes on top like this. Push it down so that this is nice and taut. This is a thick fabric, so it just fits barely like that. And tighten the screw to tighten it up and hold it in nice and tightly. When you're doing it, you might want to pull the edges just to make sure that it's as taut as possible. You want the fabric to be pulled really nicely because that makes it easier to embroider. There we go. So that's pretty taut. Once you've threaded your needle, pull on the threads like this to kind of straighten it out, even out any kinks. Okay, then we need to tie a knot. There are a lot of different ways to do it. This is the way my mother taught me, so this is how I do it. So make a loop. Oops, make a loop like this and hold it in your right hand. Put the little tail behind so it goes through, not through, but behind the loop. See how it is like that? And then with your other hand, pinch it through the center there and push the knot like this, and it tightens. Again, there are all sorts of different ways. This is the way I do it, but you do however you want. Let's start with this most simple of the 3 snowflakes. Thread up your needle. I'm using this red. It's number 666 of DMC. Start by coming through the back where these little circles are. Pull up from the back like that, and we're going to do a French knot. To do that, hold the thread like this in your left, put your needle like that, wrap around once, twice. You can do it 3 times if you want. I'm doing it twice because I'm using the full strand. Stick it back through, but not in the same hole, otherwise it'll just pull out the back. Right next to it, pull back, make sure you're holding it like this with your thumb. Hold it until the very end, then let go and pull, and you've got a little knot. Then go back again through the back, right near the knot here. We're gonna do those lines. Okay, here we come out through on one end. Pull through, and in the center you can see there's a little space, go through here, pull through, then again from the back, we're going to come out here very close to the center, not exactly in the center, but very close. There we go. Pull through. Okay. And then go back in right in the same hole where we went through before. That way it creates a continuous line like that. Let's go back in again near the center for the next line. This is going to be a short line. It's not going to touch the other ones, not in the center and not touching that other line. There's a little tiny space. Come up like this and go down to the end of this short line. This is half the length of the longer one. Come through the little loop, the little circle there, where we're going to do another French knot. So again, pull the thread to the left. With your needle, put it against the thread like this and wrap it, okay, hold on. Wrap it around twice, once, twice. Poke the tip of the needle very, very close. Okay, there it is, very close to where the thread came out through the fabric. Poke it through, holding the thread off to the side with your left hand. Keep pulling through, okay, pull it through. Hold it tight until the very last moment, let go, and you pull it through, and it creates a little knot like that. Then you continue from the next ray there. You do the French knot. Again, 1, 2 times around. Put the needle tip right nearby, slide the knot down the needle, pull through, hold the thread, and there we've got another French knot. Continue like that, going down there, up the short one, French knot, down the long line, back up the short line, French knot, all the way around. Okay, do your last French knot and you've finished with your first snowflake. It's very simple, but still really cute. Now let's turn it around to the back. Let's make a knot off our thread. Take a little bit of the thread nearby, pull through. Okay, there we go, pull all the way through. Now let's make a little loop, go through the same place. Make sure you're not going to the front of the fabric. Okay, leave a little loop and then go through with your needle like that. Pull nice and tight. Okay, that's pretty well closed. And just snip off the end. And there you go. Now you may have noticed that your needle has gotten a little bit sticky from going through the stick and stitch. So to clean it off, all you need is some rubbing alcohol. This is rubbing alcohol, it's pink just because I'm in Italy and that's how it is. Put it on a cotton ball, or in my case, a reusable makeup remover, and just wipe off the needle. It's pretty simple. You get all the sticky gunk off and you're ready to go. Now let's go on to our second snowflake. I'm using green. It's number 700 DMC. Let's start from the tip again. Start from the very, very, very tip up here in the center. Pull through and then go down there where the intersection is of those other bits. Go off to the side and go through that same hole. Make sure you're going in the same hole that you made before. And again, over here, you come through the top and go right through that same hole. So it looks like it's not 3 separate lines, but it's all connected. Then go into the center of that middle part there. Again, go through the same hole. Then come back up this same hole in the center. Up and go right into the very center point. For this snowflake, we are going right into the very center. Then go on to the French knot here. The little circle is a French knot. Oops, make sure your thread isn't tangled on the back. That happens if you leave too long of a tail. All right, so remember, French knot. Put your thread to the side, wrap it around twice. The tip of the needle near where the thread came out. Not in the same hole, but right next to it. Push through while holding, make sure you're holding the thread there off to the side while you pull the thread all the way through, and there's your knot. Now let's continue on to this next snowflake ray or branch. From the center, again, we're in the very same hole. Work your way up like this. Remember, at the very top, you're putting the needle in that very same hole. Whoops. With all of these little branches here. In the same hole, so it is continuous. Your French knot, go through, and then continue that way all around. Here's your last French knot, and there you are, all done. Now, let's go on to the third, slightly more complicated snowflake. This time, I'm using a light blue. It's DMC 996. Again, let's start from the very tip. Here we have a French knot to start out with. I'll pull it through. Again, 1, 2, the tip goes near where the thread came out in the first place. Hold the thread off to the side while you pull through, and there's your knot. It's not perfect, but it's okay. And then we'll work our way down. Remember these little side bits here, they join in this center line. So when you come back and do this second part, you need to insert the needle in that same hole. That way it looks like a continuous line. And again, also when you're doing this center line, right there into that same hole. There we go. And continue going down like that. Okay, now this star part that goes around is actually really just the same thing, these little bits coming off of the center, and they join together to make that star shape. So just work it the way you were working these other little arms that reach out, I guess, these little branches. Okay, remember that you are going through into the same hole. That will create the branch look. Whoops, careful that doesn't happen. Okay, go right into the center. For this snowflake, all of the little branches there reach into the same central point. There you go. So this is the first branch of this snowflake. We're going to continue like that all the way around. So let's come back up. We can't go through that center hole again because we just went through it. So we're going to come up here. Careful with the tail of your thread so it doesn't get tangled. Make sure it's not too long. Then go right back through that center hole. Again, it needs to all go through that same hole so it all looks joined. Then see how we're coming up in that same hole that that little branch bit was. And again, here through the same hole. And up here. The key to getting this snowflake to look good is to make sure you're always going through that same exact hole. You can see here it's starting to make that little zigzag star shape. Continue working your way up. Here we are at the French knot, around twice, tip near where the thread came out from the back, push through the needle, holding that thread, see, pulling through to the back. Hold that thread until the very end and then pull it through for your knot. Continue this way all the way around, starting from the top, down, up, and back, down, up, up. Okay, our last French knot, and there is our third snowflake. So now we've got our 3 beautiful embroidered snowflakes. However, they still have this excess stick and stitch on them. You can peel it up like that. Now it's going to get rinsed off, but we want to remove as much as possible before that. So peel it up, take your regular scissors, not your fabric scissors. We don't want to get them all gunky, and just trim off extra bits like that. So pull it up, Be careful not to cut your stitches or your fabric, and just trim off as much as you can. Okay, now you can see that there is a whole lot less stick and stitch on there that needs to get washed off. So continue doing that with your other snowflakes, and then we'll head on over to a sink. All right, now that we're at the sink, let's rinse off this thing. Now notice there's this, you can see there's still a little bit of stuff in there, okay? We're gonna rinse it off with the water. Try and use warm. Warm tends to work better. Just put it underneath, let it kind of soak in, rub it with your thumbs. It'll dissolve faster if you have the water on warm. I can feel it's starting to dissolve off. You can feel it's like a little bit slimy actually here where the stuff was, where it starts dissolving. Rub it gently, you don't want to mess up your embroidery stitches. Okay. There you go. I'm gonna rub it a little bit. Alright, I think it's all off. Turn off the water. See? You can see that these French knots sticking out, but there isn't actually the stuff there. Okay, I'm gonna squeeze it out. You probably shouldn't do that, but I'm reckless, and so I did it anyway. Put it out nice and straight. If you need to kind of adjust it, kind of pull the fabric like that, and then lay it out to rest like this. Once your fabric is dry, give it a good hot steam ironing. Do it from the front and the back, but make sure you use a protective ironing cloth so you don't damage the embroidery threads. You can use this embroidery to decorate pretty much anything you want. You can use it for tablecloths, for table runners, napkins, garlands, banners, anything you want. In a couple of weeks, I'll show you how to turn these practice pieces into some really cool Christmas tree ornaments. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel to get all sorts of fantastic sewing and crafting tutorials. And make sure you head on over to coochiecoocieCoo.com where you can download this free snowflake embroidery pattern. See you soon!